Hello everyone, this is Reg from microgrinder.com coming with the 17th episode of what we don't question my most popular work, which is the third channel Snap on 888. What I'm going to do in this session is actually play, have my tracking software running too, and not because it works, because it doesn't, but to show you how I go about using it in these games. Sometimes it's not going to be ideal because it's not going to fully fit on the screen, but the part that you need to see will work just fine. So hopefully we'll be able to use that's kind of the main aim of this video. It's to actually show how we can still get some use of tracking software in the middle of sessions. So I mean, and I've completely butchered this on now by talking when I've been autopilot, and I'm probably just going to, now he's checked twice, just going to bet turn, bet river, and hopefully get him off some pocket pairs, ace high, etc. He did, so I should have seen bet that flop, and I flopped a good shot on that board. I should have seen bet, it was a mistake. So hopefully we'll get a few opportunities to show you exactly what it is and how I use my software and how I develop these own players in game and get quite a lot of my notes. So it's come up already. I don't keep it up. I don't need to keep it up. It's irrelevant for me because it doesn't actually work. So we're just going to get rid of it because it's not the HUD that I'm after. I mean, a HUD would be beautiful. I'd love to somehow find a way of getting a HUD that worked on 888. Hold'em indicator claims to work on Snap. To the best of my knowledge, it doesn't. I've used a trial, and it's lots and lots of bugs. If it ever works in future, I'll be all over it. But no, I don't think it works at the minute. Fold the twos. Here's and he seems to be getting up on 3 of it. I mean, quite a lot lately. I had a session with him a couple of weeks ago, and yeah, I'm not sure if he's just trying to level me, or I'm not sure if he's soft playing me and always just 3-betting me with the goods. Well, not soft playing me, but if you know what I mean. Yeah, I'm not sure if he's just only 3-betting me with the goods and trying to level me that way. I'm not sure, but he's certainly been 3-betting me quite a lot lately. I do have a plan for him though. So if you are watching this, which I presume you probably are, or you probably will do, I do have a plan for you. I'm not going to say what it is, of course, but yeah, it's going to be fun. The Rick is a huge name. That's what the rock signal is for. But clearly I'm not going to afford to put min raise. Don't care how rocky he is. Unfortunately, we have flopped absolutely nothing. We've come up dry, as they say. So I'll just plan a check fold in here. Nothing much more to be done or said about that. And we've been going for 4 minutes and I haven't had a chance to demonstrate how I use my tracking software in play. flop top pair here on a reasonably wet board. There's plenty of draws out there. Certainly think you can get some value. Kakadon. So the note says bet small turn in position with boat. Bomb the river. The limp says king. So he's a weak type player, which is backed up by the yellow tag. I don't see any reason to raise here. And I wouldn't be surprised if I'm completely in jail to him. If he bombs the turn, I'm probably just going to fold out. I'm never going to get to know because we're going to fold anyway to Artemis's check raise. I think we'll just fold and watch this one because I'd be interested to see what Kakadon turns up within his donking range, if he turns up with anything. Oops, I'm lost at the moment. And you folded. So, not to say donkey and weak, but only if he's donk folding that board, it means clearly not donking sets, for example. So, we can now put in there donk, fold, 8, 5, 8, 5x, two-tone. And all these things just go to make reads later on. Fair enough, that isn't much of a read on its own. But when we start putting that together with other things on other boards that he donks and doesn't fold on, we can start developing some range. Now this is a spot where I will use my HUD. So what I'll do now, I'll sit up next hand here, so I can just focus absolutely on this situation here. So what I tend to do now is I'm going to go and find this needs some food guy. I've got plenty of notes on him. I'm going to hit my time bank. I'm going to go into this here, into my reports tab, and I'm quickly going to search for need some food. And we're going to see what his button 3 betting range is. Hopefully, if it comes up quickly enough. It might not with all my other software running. And it has to. His button 3 bet is 6%, which isn't that wide, so I'm going to fold the Jack Queen off. But if his button 3, just say at my hand, that's just an example of what I'd use. I had no intention to play the Jack Queen off. But had I had a hand like Ace Queen off there, which is a much tougher spot. And then I see, right, he's 3 betting 6% from the button. I imagine he's going to be probably, he should be depolarized there. So I'm probably just going to call and then look to check raise, any ace or any queen high flop. That will put in my default line against him there, and just take it from there against him. And maybe check call some boards where I can, flop some kind of equity, or like 2 overcards or some kind of backdoors. There's plenty of ways we can stay in the pot and stay competitive with ace queen off there against somebody who 3 bets a bit more than him on the button. 6% isn't that wide. It's just getting to the point where you can get a little bit leery with him, but yes, it's certainly not a range that you're going to be, jumping out of your skin to play against. And I don't expect values of reg, so it's Sam Theo. I don't recognise Sam Theo at all, so we're quickly going to put his name in while my time bank's running down. We've got 150 hands on him, so we're going to find him. Quickly minimise this, hit our time bank just in time, because this could be a squeeze or it could be a fold. The guy's 22-18. His early position range is pretty wide-ish at 16%. He gets pretty aggro on the button. So I think I'm going to go for a squeeze here because I think he's going to have a lot of pocket pairs that he's going to be folding. If a king queen suited, I'll probably call. I think king queen off is leans me more towards squeezing as a bluff. If we can get him off hands like 2 through, say 2 through 8 there, something like that, we've got a good result. As it happens, unfortunately, this guy's called. And his range is going to be maybe hands like ace jack, ace queen, pocket pairs. I'm not going to try and bluff him on this board. That's pretty poor flop for us. So now all we can do is fold here. Check fold, and then yeah, I'm just giving up. I'm done with it. I think his range is going to be ace jack, ace queen, pocket tens, pocket eights, those types of things. I don't think. I mean, we could get him off ace jack and ace queen, pocket six. It's a shame that he's calling that wide. I didn't expect him to peel pocket sixes there. So that's something that I didn't know about that player that now I do. So now I can just go into my notes and expect value and just peel 6-6 on 2 versus squeeze. Because these are all things that are nice to know about regular opponents. And I don't play that much 13 now, so I don't have too many reads. Here we're just going to see that. We're just going to see that here too, because we have some backdoors on this board, and this guy looks like he might not be quite as good as a first start. And I kind of thought this expect value guy was a decent player at first. I'm beginning to think now maybe he isn't. We've turned a pace, so no reason to carry on bluffing. I'll probably fold the river if he leads, unless he leads quite small. So the queen's pretty good card for us. I'm more likely to call now. When he checks, I'm just going to go for a very thin value bet. And hope he somehow looks it up with pocket 8, something like that. Queen 10 off is never normally open for me, but we have this Terry 205. I don't know anything about him, but he's got the green tag, which sorry, the light blue tag, which is my tag for the biggest poor players. So when I think I've got a really poor player in the blinds, I'm going to widen my range significantly. I'm just not going to call this out of position with the hand as weak as Queen 10 off. I mean, he made it really small. That said, it's Queen 10 off suit. Doesn't play very well. Although I did misclick by min raising pre-flop on the Queen 10 off. At least I think a min raise. This is the one thing that if I could change about 888, I would prefer to have not that ridiculous 3/4 pot thing pre-flop. I'd rather have it, we could have 2.53 and then pot, rather than this half pot you can't even use 3/4 pot. I mean, you can do a little bit of work. We're not going to get that work done because it's 888 and they just don't invest in the software, but it'd be nice if we could. I thought the deuce spot is way too big. Hold the king 10. Right. Key code 23x. Do not recognize you. That was another misclick with the 10x. With the min race, but whatever. So before we decide whether we're going to 3-bet your key code, we're going to have a quick look at you. May or may not have many hands on you. I have 91 hands on you. So I'm not going to learn too much, but you're pretty laggy and you've got a wide button opening range. So I'm going to 3-bet, 5-bet shove. Here against somebody with those kind of stats. And just to go over it again, look, he's got an unopened button of 10 out of 10 when it's unopened. Sorry, 100% when it's unopened. He's really laggy from the button. So against this type of player, I have no issue 3-bet, 5-bet shoving a hand as strong as 10 there. So that's where it's good just to quickly get rid. I'm not going to put any stats on him yet because it's too small. 30, 26 over 89 hands. That's going to change a lot. So I'm not that into. You see on some players I'll do it where I'll have stats like 34, 25, etc. over bigger samples, but I don't start putting those stats into until we get to at least 250, 300 hands. I'll start doing it. Another player that I just do not recognise, but it's Queen Jack off with middle position open. I think we can pretty safely fold that. So we've got a weak type player opening King 10 from the opening 3x from the cutoff. I'm just going to fold. And these games seem really quite dull tonight. I'm playing 17 minutes and it feels like nothing has happened. I've got a long held belief these snap games are going downhill. I don't actually play them anymore in my own time. As when I'm playing them, when I'm actually doing my grind, I'm trying to revert back to regular tables because yeah, I think these snap games are really quite poor at the minute. The 888 made a huge mistake when they allowed people to start 3-tabling them a while back. They're just attracting more and more regulars to the games, and yeah, they're just really dull. But having said that, they do help me produce videos because we get plenty to talk about usually, and a decent amount of hands in a short amount of time, which is kind of what you want in a video. So, a video point of view, I'm going to continue making them. From an advising 888 players what to play point of view, right now I don't think the snap games are that good. Really don't. It's just absolutely saturated with regulars most of the time. And I'm not saying the regulars are good, but if you've got a bunch of break even or slight winning plays in your games, by the time you've calculated how much dead money is in the pool and then you take the rake out of that, there's not that much left to go around for everybody else. And I don't particularly want to be grinding snap for 3, 4 big blinds 100. I think I'd rather put pins in my eyes, to be completely honest with you. Yeah, this guy's going for the min dunk here. Treat it like a check we discussed in previous videos and react to it how you would react to a check. And if he checked, I would have bet, so that's what we're going to do. Yeah, I mean, he's 30 now at the moment. He's just absolutely wick with some really mediocre, weak type regulars. You get the occasional lag, and obviously you get your recreational players that really aren't very good at all. But not enough of them. They're saturated with really lots and lots of weak tight nut peddlers. And it just makes a really boring poker. Sure, we can beat them. We can beat them for the few big blinds 100. But it's tedious. And you've got to enjoy yourself when you're playing. If you're not enjoying your grind, you're not going to be very good at it. So yeah, I mean, I'm certainly moving more back towards regular tables. I'll maybe play snap at weekends or when games look good. So by look good, I typically mean when there's a lot of UK and Western European Canadian, Australian type players, and I won't play it when there's not too many of those, but there's loads of people from the poorer economy countries like Romania, Ukraine, Poland, Lithuania, Estonia, Belarus, all those kind of countries. I'm not interested in playing against people from them countries very much because at 13 or higher, most of them are probably, for want of a better word, professional poker players. I have no desire to play against people who are playing for their income at 30 and L. It's just not fun. I'm hoping Sam Field might have gone for his 3-bet routine again there, but he didn't, unfortunately. Jasper, another gentleman I've done quite a lot of work with. Good solid player. This person's turned up quite a lot. This Lemian type guy. I won't be surprised if we put a code 4 in here. Seems to be quite aggressive. I think his stack size probably put him off from doing it. Because our hands are really pretty much invulnerable here. If we're ahead, the guy's got 2 outs usually, anything between 2 and 5 outs. I'm going to just check because the pot's so, the stack to pot ratio is really not going to be too hard for us to get the money if he's got a call in hand. We could just go 180, then like $4. His check raises, so I wouldn't be at all surprised if we beat here. Clearly not going to fold. I wouldn't be at all surprised if he's got a hand like 2 9s or something like that. And he had the Queen King, so I mean, we were always going to stack him there. When he takes that line, he's always got a value hand. Or nearly always, shouldn't say always, nearly always got a value hand. And there's not that many value hands that we're beating there. But his size is, his stack size is so irrelevant that it's not like we're ever going to fold it. I think this guy's a new regular. L3 Meon. Let's keep that open just in case we've got enough hand to make some notes. And we'll have a quick look. I've only noticed him recently, but like I say, I don't play too much in these games. This is the problem, things keep popping up. I've got 278 hands, which may be enough to make some notes. So we have him at 2014, which is not as loose and aggressive as I thought. This is why we need to do this work, because he struck me so loose and aggressive. He's actually just played 2014 with quite a low 3-bet. So just pull this note up now, and I will put 2014 possible low 3-bet percent. And that's my note for now, and that could be subject to change. But for now, that's my read on the guy. So that's what we'll have. And that's why it's important to know your regulars, because I thought I would have been more expected him to be like a 25-20 with a higher 3-bet, because he's been getting him away a little bit sometimes. But then now it looks like he's maybe just had hands. The question will be 3-bet Queen 10 suited or call here. I think it's a pretty easy call. Not Sunky saying just 21-16, nothing apart from that. He bombed c-bets here. If he made a smaller c-bet, I would consider messing around with it maybe, but he bombed c-bets into 2 players. I'm just going to give him credit for having a hand and move on. So here we have 2 overs, backdoor straight, backdoor flush draw, against somebody who probably isn't going to be good, given that he's just like put a small dog bet in. It looks like we're having a bit of a timeout issue at the minute though, which is a shame. The site has been lagging quite a lot lately. If it carries on for more than 30 seconds, I will pause the video. It's a shame if this the race got through, that's fine. And he folded, which is fine. Yeah, that's just part of the perils of playing 888. Sometimes you put bets and races in, and when it's on its lagging days, you can't be certain that they're going to go through. It's not so bad when a bluff raise doesn't go through, because it never gets to be seen at the table. But when you've got a big hand, and again it's just doing it again right now. If this carries on, I'm going to have to end the video, I'm afraid. But no, I don't think it's going to cause a huge problem. We've only got maybe another 10 minutes or so to go. Hopefully we can hang on till then. Don't break down 888. Don't break down just yet. So let's go back to need some food now, and let's have a look at his under the gun range. Because this is a hand that I would definitely 3-bet as a bluff against quite a lot of regulars. Let's go back to your need. Let's see what your under the gun range is. It's only 13%. I'm not going to 3-bet someone who only owns 13% under the gun as a bluff. I'm not going to c-bet my 2 9s here. Had his under the gun range been at 16 or 17%, I would have, without question, 3-bet bluff there. If this checks through again, it's going to be pretty obvious nobody has a queen. So I think my hand's no good though. I think someone's going to have a jack too often or a king, so we're going to just try and put a lot of pressure on one pair type hands. Maybe we'll fold. And I'm doing this because it's just going to check all the way through. I don't think anyone's going to be calling an overbet there, unless they backed into a small flush. Then I think we might even bet it. But if we look at this needs some food character, he's got 2 very different ranges. He's got his under the gun middle position range, and he's got his cut off and one range. So he's probably not as good a regular as I first thought, because he doesn't have a curve, he just has 2 steps. I expect most players to have a better curve than that. In terms of that, maybe 13, 14 under the gun, 18 middle, 25 cut off, 35 button. Something like that was typically the sort of thing you see. When somebody doesn't have that, they just have 2 steps. I'm not saying it's bad. I mean, Neeson Food's definitely a winning player. But and I don't think it's that good either. I think you can do much better. Probably a triple against this guy here. I think it looks like he might sort of player who peels quite loose, quite weak. I'm going to call here with a 4-5 suited because the guy hasn't got a full stack, which increases the chance it's going to be bad. and we want to play implied hands against bad players, not particularly against good players. So what's donked? I mean, I don't really respect donk bets very much. I do respect them when they go into 3 players. So I should just get out of the way. Not particularly useful note for this situation. But there's 3 less than 100 big blind players at the table, so I'm going to open the ace-9. Typically that wouldn't be in my early position range, but when there's 3 players with less than 100 big blinds at the table, it's a good opportunity to open a little bit wider. So that's why I did it then. This is one of the things I'm always doing. I'm always paying attention to who's at my table, and then choosing which hands I play accordingly. James Halifax here has the fish tag, sorry, but he also has the fish's stack, so there's not much you can do with the ace 10 offsuit there. King 8 off on the button seems like a pretty easy open. Bud and dreams. You can have that when I've got the king 8 off. I don't typically min race in snap games when I play, by the way. This is just because I have been playing regular tables and toying with the 2x open. I think we'll get back to the 3x for the remainder of this session because just because I think I prefer 3x most of the time. And straight away we get 3-bet. I don't know this player at all. He's from Australia, which makes me kind of a little bit more interested in perhaps playing a pot with him. So we're looking for somebody called Mamsicles. So hopefully we can get him up quickly. And we don't have any hands on him at all, hardly, but it might be enough just if he's like really super loose. But if not, he's 18/8, so yeah, it's a nothing hand sample, but if that was at 70%, I think we could have considered calling there, or something like that. There's some Australian players there, but because he's got normal pre-flop race, that's over a very small sample. I just give him credit for having a hand. And it's usually that's when I'll be doing this little exercise of checking my database quickly, is when I get 3-bet in situations like that and I'm not really sure what to do. That's typically when I will be going looking into my database. So we've got maybe just a couple of minutes to go in the video. Even though this guy is a nit, I still think Jack's is too strong to just flat. So I'm going to 3-bet. Oh, it looks like a bit of time I get out. So I'm going to 3-bet for value against him and fold to a 4-bet. I think he's going to peel a lot of suited Broadway type hands, maybe pocket some of that mid pocket pairs. I don't think this type of player has that much small pairs in his range. So I think he's going to call with a lot of his range here that's You're going to 4-bet his good hands and call with a lot of other stuff, in my opinion. So that's the plan here. He's 3-betting for value. And don't think he's going to have too much ace X and king X in his range. A lot of his range is going to be, obviously he can have some ace queen. That's about it in his ace X, maybe ace king too. But a lot of it's going to be like pocket 7s, pocket 8s, pocket 9s, pocket 10s. I don't think get much value from them on this particular board. So I'm just going to check back. He donks into in the turn. I don't think he has queen 10 at all. So it's just whether we can get value from ace king now, really. And we're going to try. If he has queen 10, well, I've learned something about him. We're going to go for a race here to targeting ace queen, ace king. Maybe pocket 3s, but I don't think he has pocket 3s in his under the gun range. Unless my read is wrong. I mean, if he calls here, we can just jam the river super comfortably. I wouldn't be too happy to see a queen or a 10 come on the river, obviously, but hopefully we'll put him in a spot here. He's just going to ship it in our face with his ace queen and his ace king. Maybe ace jack suited. Ace jack of hearts is still out there, isn't it? It's still possible the ace jack of hearts can be there. I think he's going to fold though. And he does. So, I mean, I'm not really that sure what he has to the bet for. To me, he could have made a really good fold with an ace there. I think that's the most likely outcome. That's the most likely scenario. The guy just folded an ace. This is Mamsiko's character again. We could 3-bet Jack King suited, but I think it's plays fine as a call. Maybe 3-bet Jack King off. Or King Jack off. Whatever you want to say it. He's supposed to see by that board. So because of no bluffing, I think we can happily just make a c-bet bluff here. He's supposed to see, but it's ace xx. It's really dry. So I'd say c-betting is close to 100% if he's any good. Once he calls, I'm just going to give him credit for having an ace. I'm not going to continue. I'm not going to continue bluffing at all here. I think I'm probably drawing dead. Just going to fold here. This guy looks like he likes to call down, so we're going to go for another bet. The king's not great. We're going to fold to a raise because I just think we're going to be dead. I think he's just going to have queen 10 nearly all the time here. Or pocket 9s. He's turbo raised. So yeah, a really easy fold there. Well, not an easy fold, it's annoying. It's pretty irritating that I have to fold there. But paying him off would have been even more irritating. If you ever read that a guy just goes check call, with hands like king, queen, etc. on king x6 board, we could be quite happy with our double barrel there for value for sure when we turn 2 pair. Just going to call this time against this guy with the king jack is significantly weaker. We're expecting to have quite a lot of give ups in his range on the flop or on the turn, so I think we can outplay him in position. Now we're not going to be able to because we've been 3-bet and he's absolutely turbo called 4-bet. I'm going to fold and watch because I expect both these guys to have strong hands here. Be interested to see what they turn up with. That pro Andrew there clearly, if he's just gone for a bluff there against 2 tight players, I think he's really needs to do his homework. And that's a good spot to, 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 to squeeze if there's that weaker player in the hand. And the guy's not a good player under the gun, but his range is strong. Even if he's a weak player, his range is pretty strong. So being dunked into on a paired ball by someone is probably bad. So again, we'll just go for the raise. We have some equity, if we call it, I guess. We don't have much equity against a 9, but we have equity against any pairs that call. So here we're going for 40 minutes now, so I'm just going to play around to my blinds and end the session just by, first of all, it's by checking this ace queen. There's no reason to bluff. We've got the nut nothing, so just check. Go for set man with the 5, 7. We'll break the set man. So he then makes a weak lead at this turn. I'm going to raise here, and I'm going to bluff the river on bricks. I'm not going to bluff a club. But if he had a better, more reasonable size on that turn, then I would absolutely not have made that play. But when he bets like less than half pot, it's just a probe bet. He's usually going to have an underpair. He's just probing with. I don't want to let that play succeed, so I went for the raise. But that is the end of the video. I hope you got some use out of it, people who do play Snap, and how you can use stats in session. It requires a little bit of work. It does require use of the time bank, and it will absolutely eat into how many hands per hour you're getting. But I definitely think it's going to prevent you from making a lot of mistakes. For example, the player, the L3 Me, or whatever it's called. I've learned something about him tonight that I wouldn't have known had I not done the stats check. So I'm not saying you have to do it, but it will certainly improve your win rate if you do it. It certainly can't hurt. Knowledge is power. And there's another saying that in the land of the blind, the man with one eye is king, or the one-eyed man is king. We are playing in the land of the blind here. There's no HUD stats. There's only basically the only reads we can get is through getting a showdown where people are taking good notes, or trying to use stats on them by dragging the stats out during the session. So yeah, hopefully you've learned something from this, and yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.